there. Perfect. All right, I'm just gonna get straight into this. So this image was shot over the weekend. There's really not much I need to do in terms of edit. It's pretty much, shot clean in the camera. I'm just gonna raise shadows and highlights. When I scroll down, I'm just gonna go put a sharpness of about 60, maybe 61, and my radius about 1.3. And then you can see the lens that I use to shoot this. I shot it with a Canon, sorry, not Canon, a Sony A7 III. I'm just gonna go here into Photoshop. All right, we're here in Photoshop now. Pretty much what I normally do is create a new layer. I don't like working on the original picture, so I create a copy. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use dodging and burning with curves. I want to do the process so that you guys can see how it's done. I'm going to turn the mask into black, so everything is hidden. White reveals, black conceals. Just keep that in mind. So this is going to be my my burn, sorry. Just naming it over here. If I can spell. All right. So I'm just going to group these. Naming it D and B for dodging and burning. So I'm going to be using my brush with the opacity of 100 and a flow of 1%, smoothing 0. Zoom in so you can actually see the image right here. So I'm going to soften my brush. So right now I'm just looking over the areas where I'm going to work on the face, just to kind of help the gradation from lights to dark a little bit more smooth. So what I'm going to do now is going to create a help layer. A help layer that I normally use is normally turning the image to black and white and bringing down the tones, the shadows and highlights, so I can see them a little bit more. I'm going to group that. And I'm just going to call it help, keeping it very simple. Okay, and here we go. So I'm sure you guys know about dodging and burning if you have watched previous videos on my channel, so I'll try not to spend too much time in explaining while I'm dodging and burning. So from here I'll kind of speed the video up and be back shortly. Alright, so now that I've finished some of my dodging and burn, I'm going to merge the layers. So what I'm going to do now is sculpt the body. I'm going to show you one of the areas that I'm going to be sculpting. Let's go zoomed in a little bit too far right here. All I'm going to be doing is just kind of correct those lines right there, right by her chest, and make it look at a little bit better. I don't like how it looked before. I think that looks a little bit better. I'm gonna adjust her arm right here. Not gonna go too crazy. Just kind of smooth out that indentation right there in her arm right there. Just keeping it very simple. Like I said, I'm not going too crazy. As the saying goes, less is more. I'm gonna do the other side of the arm. And I'm using liquify, guys, if you guys want to know liquify. So what I'm doing here now is I'm freezing these areas so that when I'm using the liquify brush, it doesn't drag those areas at all. Remember, guys, editing is not about rushing, taking the time, thinking about what it is that you want to accomplish from your image, and go from there. So I'm going to adjust her hair right here. I don't really like how that right side, or should I say her left side, is looking. So I'm going to just bring that back just a tad. Like I said, not going too crazy. Yeah, I noticed that our forehead was kind of moving, so I'm going to freeze that area right there. And let's do this again. I think that's good for now. So I'm just going to close some of these gaps, not all of them, because I really wanted her hair to look very messy for this shot. I didn't want it to look too, set up, so to speak. So I'm just going to close a little bit of these gaps, not all of them. For me, it's just a little bit distracting. Alright, so we're getting somewhere now. Alright, so I'm just going to be doing some more blemish repairs. So like I said, I won't bore you guys with these things. These things are very, simple to do. So I'm going to speed this video up and get back to you guys. That took a little bit longer than expected. I was having a little bit of color shift when I was using the clone stamp tool and the healing, but I got it. I always try to work on a separate layer for each things, so that, you know, I can always come back if there are any adjustment that needs to be made. I can always come back. So right now I'm going to adjust the side of her chest right here. It looked a little bit weird for me, so I'm just going to bring it out just some. Like I said, not going too crazy, keeping it very simple. Because of how she was holding her chest, I just think it needed a little bit of adjustment, but that looks a lot better now, before, after. As you can see what we have done so far. So there are those little blemishes here and there. Like I said, she has really great skin. There wasn't really much I needed to do for this shot, so it made editing this image so easy. So like I've showed you guys how to do the dodging and burning, I have these actions that I use to make my work just that much faster. And I'm going to go through and, you know, tidy up some areas that I think needed tidying up. Activating my help layer right there so I can see a lot better. And off to the races we go. And I won't bore you guys with this. I'm going to speed the video up one more time, and I'll be back when it's done. Alright, now that that's done, I'm going to merge the layer, and I'm going to adjust the left side of her face right here. Still kind of bugging me a little bit, so I'm just going to go in. I'm going to freeze where the hair kind of starts on the forehead. I'm going to freeze that area right there, and then I'm just going to adjust. So don't go too crazy, guys. Just keep it as simple as possible so it doesn't look too fake. And I think that looks a lot better. I'm just going to adjust her forehead on the other side now to bring it down just a tad. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. I'm gonna bring in her cheeks just a little bit more. That way, you know, it doesn't stick out as much right there. Just a tad. That's it. I think that looks a lot better than it was before. I think the picture is coming on nicely. So let's take a look at the before and the after. Before, after. Looking pretty good. So what I'm gonna do now is just kind of increase the contrast of the image a little bit, raise the highlights a little bit more. Give the image a little bit of oomph, so to speak, to make it pop a little bit more. Yeah, I think that looks really good. Like I said, guys, I always try to work on a separate layer when I'm doing any kind of adjustments. There's a little coloring on her, I think her neck area right here. I'm going to be fixing later on. I'm just noticing it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to, you know, even the tones on her skin a little bit more. Not going to be too crazy. Like I said, I always try to keep things as simple as possible. You have to be careful when you're using this brush, guys, because you can actually, you know, mess up your image. So try to be as go as slowly as possible. If you're doing the highlights, stay within the highlights. If you're doing the dark shadows, stay within those areas. Don't come outside, because that's when you're going to have colors leaking over into other areas. So just keep it very simple. You might not see much effect happening, but that's only because I'm going very slowly, I'm being very careful as well, because I don't really want it to look fake, you know, even though what we're doing, you know, is, you know, Photoshop is all about making your images more than what it truly is. You know, so in some sense, yes, it's fake, but you know what I mean. So here I'm just kind of bringing in some of the oranges to that section right there, which is fine. If you notice right there, I kind of brought a little bit of the highlights from her fingers. So I'm trying to bring back that to the her arms right there. That's looking better now. I think that looks really good, guys. That's looking pretty good. You guys look at that and tell me what you think. So now that area in the neck I told you guys about, I'm just going to fix that. So I'm just going to bring, just kind of match the colors a little bit. Going very slowly, like I always said before. And I try not to go too crazy, guys, because I'm just using this for YouTube. So, you know, I don't want to make the videos too long for you guys. So you can see the before and after right there. So I've merged that layer. Or rather group. And then what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna, you know, use this other action called rich tones. It's a little bit too strong for me right now, so I'm gonna bring it down to about 20% opacity, maybe 15. Excuse me, guys, for clearing my throat. But I think that looks a lot better, definitely. What I'm gonna do now is remove what I just did from the background and only keep it on her skin. So I'm using a mask right now, guys. Remember, black conceals while white reveals. I'm trying not to go over her skin here, so I'm going very slowly and very carefully. only affecting the background. So I'm thinking that's looking pretty good. That looks really nice. So now my darks or my shadows rather are looking pretty good. So I'm just going to increase my highlights a little bit, and I'm going to go to the underline layer, and I'm going to just raise that from the shadows and just maintain it into the highlights. And then I'm going to separate it by making the gradation from the darks and the highlights a little bit more even and a lot smoother. I think that looks pretty good before and after. That looks really nice, guys. That looks pretty good. So let's go check and see what the before and after looks like. That's before and after, and I think that's really it's a lot better than what it was before. The image pops more. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna sharpen the image. Zoom in so you guys can see. This was an overall sharpen. I really don't want to do that. I want to sharpen her face a little bit more. So I'm just creating a mask. Remember what I said, guys, black conceals. So I'm revealing it now by painting with white on the brush on her face, so that her face stand out a little bit more. I think when I was shooting this, when I took this shot, I kind of missed the focus a little bit for her face. So I'm just going to bring the attention back to her face. I think that's looking pretty good so far, guys. I'm just bringing some sharpness back into like the water behind her. Her eyes right there, her lips. I think that's looking really good. So I'm going to go into the water droplets on her skin. Oh, that's a little bit too strong, so I'm going to lower the opacity of my brush to about 30%, and I think that's a lot better. I'm not doing all of them, just doing some of them. Just make them pop a little bit. And I think that looks really good. That looks pretty good, guys. Pretty good. I'm liking that. You guys can tell me what you think in the comment section. What you guys think, what you would like me to do in future videos. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new for more videos like these. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a good day. Peace.